Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be makeup tips I wish I learned sooner. These tips have definitely changed my makeup game for the better and I thought I would share them with you. Now to start off with, before we dive right into this, I just want to say I have been wearing this makeup for like 10 hours, so if it looks a little worn, it's because it is. So sorry about that, and sorry about my very untamed hair, okay? I'm sorry, but it's the way life is. So tip number one is to not go darker with your foundation to make yourself look a little more tan, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're white as paper like me, don't think, oh, you know, maybe I should go darker in my foundation so I look a little darker. First off, it's not going to match your neck, so it'll be obvious, but also you won't be able to bronze up your skin and make it look alive, so to speak. This is what I used to do. All of these tips, I believe, are from my personal experiences. So I used to go darker with my foundation, and I didn't bronze my skin, because if I bronzed my skin, it would look really terrible. What you really need to do to make yourself look darker or whatever, first off, being pale isn't that bad, I'm just saying, okay? But you get your foundation in your shade, so white for me, and then you bronze up your skin to make it look more lifelike, and also in return doesn't make it look as pale. Now this is what I do. Again, I have been wearing this makeup for 10 hours, so I don't know, my bronzer actually is probably gone. Yeah, it's not really there anymore, but now if I were to just do a darker foundation, yeah, my all over face would look darker, but I can't bronze to really get that definition I want for my cheekbones and to make my forehead look a little smaller. So that is tip number one. It was a little all over the place, but I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Tip number two, which isn't really a tip, but rather some advice. If you're finding that your eyeshadow looks uneven all the time, like every time you do your eyeshadow, it always looks uneven, this is probably because your eyes are different shapes. Or maybe one eyelid creases more than the other one does, which I think is the case for me. For example, I'll try to look at you straight on. I may cut this part out if my makeup really looks that bad, because I know I look a hot mess. But as you can tell, I have less lid space over here than over here. I'm like touching my lashes. I forget how long they are sometimes. I have less lid space over here. It creases more and it takes away more of that lid space. Then over here is more open and I have more lid space. So that's why my left eye looks like it has more eyeshadow than my right eye sometimes. I've kind of learned how to fix that though a little bit. So my suggestion for this is to do your eyeshadow the way you normally would, but then stop and take a break and just look at your eyes. Think, okay, is there more eyeshadow, or does it look like there's more eyeshadow on my left eye or on my right? Where is there more eyeshadow on my left eye versus my right? Is it in the outer corner? Is it up here? Is it on the lid? Find out where it is. For me, there was more eyeshadow, or what looked like more eyeshadow on my lid versus over here, because over here I don't have as much lid space as I do over here. You know what I'm saying? So I've learned to go higher with my eyeshadow over here and just keep doing the same thing over here to mimic more eyelid space. So that's another tip. Again, a little messy and all over the place, but I hope you guys understand. My next tip for you is that in my personal experience, I know a lot of people might not agree with this, like big old beauty gurus up there that swear by this, but I don't. And that is, I don't think priming is necessary. Now, before you commit to no primer, if you have a primer, see what your makeup looks like with your primer on, and another day whenever you test out wearing no primer at all. Boy, if you don't. I do use the MAC Prep and Prime. It's technically a priming spray, but all I feel that does is really, it just kind of hydrates your skin a little bit, so those dry patches aren't dry and stuff like that. But even still, I have gone without my MAC Prep and Prime and everything is the same. I don't believe that primer is really necessary, at least in my experience. Again, I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but just try it. Just if you're like, should I really spend this much money on a primer? Does it really do something for my skin? Let me try without a primer and see what that looks like. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Just try your makeup without a primer. Try it with a primer. If it makes a difference, go ahead and use the primer. But if you notice that it's not making a difference, don't repurchase that primer. Maybe I just haven't found the right primer. Maybe there is a primer out there that does change makeup application and longevity. I have a lot though, and I've tried a lot and nothing so far, but who knows. The next advice I have for you is one that I myself don't follow, but it is something that you should keep in mind. That is to not buy palettes you know you're not really gonna use. I'm gonna show you guys a few examples here. Okay, so I saw this Tarte palette online. It's so cute, right? The packaging is just, it's adorable. I love this packaging. It's circular, which is a little unique, and it's just colorful. It looks like the sea, which is probably why it's called Rainforest of the Sea, Volume 2. The colors are not for me. Now, if you see this, it's just kind of boring, plain shimmers. They're really not that interesting, and they're not if you guys can tell, I haven't even used this yet, and I've had this for a while now, and I have not even touched this yet. So there you go. There's proof right there that I do not use this palette. The only reason I bought it is because of how freaking adorable this packaging was, okay? Like, it's so cute. Honestly, Tarte has really, really cute packaging. That's the only reason I bought it. But again, I wasted like, I don't know, $30 on that just to stare at the packaging. But I don't recommend you guys doing it. Look past the packaging, be like, okay, that packaging looks cute, but will I use those colors? That's what's really important. My next tip for you is to not expect too much when you first get into makeup. Don't expect to be an amazing makeup artist the first time you pick up an eyeshadow brush. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes time to progress and get good. It takes time to get good at makeup. I've been working with makeup for 4 years now. Just like in the last 2 years was when I was really, really into makeup. But I've been into makeup for 4 years now, at least. And I'm at this stage right now. Like, this is my makeup. It's nothing extravagant. I make mistakes all the time. My eyebrows are not even at times. I suck at lining my lips with liquid lipstick at other times. I can't even do, like, I have a hard time putting on fake eyelashes. Hence why I never put on fake eyelashes. And if I do, you'll definitely be able to tell. But I'm just saying. Like, clearly, it takes time. Years. So if you're just getting into makeup and you're expecting to be good right off the bat, then you might as well just not even get into makeup, because that's not how this works. Now, my next tip is strictly for beginners, mostly, kind of. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, it's to use a beauty sponge over a brush. So to use something like this, which is my very dirty limited edition marble beauty blender by Beauty Blender. Yeah, so this is what I use versus something I used to use not too long ago, this, which is my e.l.f. foundation blurring brush. Why I recommend using a sponge over a brush is because the brush does leave behind streaks in your foundation and brush lines, and sometimes brush hairs come off into your foundation. You gotta try to pick that off, you know what I'm saying? A beauty blender, and I think every beauty guru will agree with this, a beauty blender blends things seamlessly and beautifully and tracelessly. Like, it's gorgeous. That's what a beauty blender does. Now you may be like, why do people use brushes then in the first place? A brush does add more coverage because a beauty blender does tend up to soak a lot of your foundation. Oh God. It's because I was like messing with this beauty blender and the face powder came out of it and I breathed it in. So a brush does add more coverage and doesn't soak up as much of your product, but you are also risking not getting as much of a seamless application when it comes to your foundation and or your concealer. My next tip for you is pretty short and simple. If you're going to school or going to work and you have oily skin or combination to oily skin, I suggest bringing blotting sheets. These are like little squares that I don't have any on me right now. They're like in my purse, but I don't want to get them. But they're like little squares, little sheets that you press into your skin and it soaks up all the oil, and your foundation, your makeup doesn't look as gross and cakey and nasty. My second to last tip for you is to, when you're done with all of your makeup, I suggest you set your face with setting spray. This is basically a spray that you spray on your face and it just kind of makes your makeup all melt together and look like one beautiful canvas. And you don't look really powdery. It takes away that powder. My last step is, again, for only beginners, and that is to use half lashes instead of full lashes. Now you can get strip lashes. They're just like regular fake lashes that everyone has seen. And then you can get lashes that are basically, they're like cut in half and they're half lashes, but they're not just cut in half. They make it so they look natural and not just like cut in half lashes, you know what I'm saying? That is what I recommend to you. I am in love with the Huda Beauty Easy Camille lash. If they're half lashes, they're my favorite and they look amazing. I really like them. So that is it for this video, you guys. If you guys want to see a part 2 to this or more tips, I can definitely think up some tips. I can definitely think about more tips and advice I could share to you. These are just a few examples. So if you want, again, if you want to see part 2, comment below, like, you know, the drill, subscribe, all of that. And thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate that you deal with my stutteriness, the fact that I can't speak. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a mess. I'm glad you deal with me even though I'm just a mess. And I hopefully will see you all on the next one. Bye, guys. All that powder stuff, all that stuff. All that powder stuff, all that stuff. That makes sense, Kyla. But